Hey, what's up, everybody? Your boy JC, Everyday Thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. I know what time it is. How's everybody doing this evening? Tonight's topic is: should you be financially stable before you date? Special guest with me tonight, Miss Jefferson, uh, Laquanda. Everybody gather around. What's going on? Lachey, what's going on, Nina? What's going on, Stanley? How's everybody doing? I'm good. Nah, I ain't watching those, right? I mean, I just hope the Hawks get the first pick, but if not, it is what it is. Hold on one second, about to bring in my co-host. What's going on, Olivia? Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I am good. So,
All right.
did you already introduce the topic?
Yeah, I did. I mean, introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Jefferson. I am a marriage and family therapist, psychotherapist here in Atlanta, and we're going to talk about whether or not people should be financially stable before they pursue a relationship or start dating. Which one?
We can go with both. We can go with dating.
Okay, so if we had to go with dating, first we need to define what dating really is, and that differs for so many people. So, um, some people date with a purpose, and some people are like serial daters, and they just kind of go out with people to get a meal, to get drinks or whatever for free. And I guess to that degree, yeah, they're not financially stable. They don't want to be financially stable. They're just kind of
Oh
seek
no, let's come back to relationships. We're trying to pursue a relationship, possibly marriage, not just dating, because dating could be casual.
right. So if we're talking
Yeah.
about dating with the purpose of and a long-term companionship, an intimate partner relationship or whatever, then I would probably say no, because you can be in the process of becoming. And then even if you're already established, finances is that's kind of like one of those things where there is nothing guaranteed unless we're talking about, inheritance type of income or retirement income. And people don't typically get that until much later on. So my first marriage was straight in med. I was in med school. Most people in med school at that time with me, they didn't have, finances. I came from a pretty set foundation, so financially I was set, but most people don't have. And so you build, you know. My husband and I, we built our own stuff. I mean, I had a pretty nice nest egg already, but still it's a process. So I don't think being financially stable is a prerequisite dating the relationship thing, but I do think that there has to be some degree of knowledge about financial management, because that's where the disconnect comes into play. So if you know this person to dish out and dish out and dish out and you don't contribute in any way.
What's going on, Algie? What's going on, Amy? But yeah, though, you're right though. I mean, like it's all about like budgeting, it's all about management. But I feel like as a man first, you gotta have a vision. You know, a lot of times guys are just dating for fun or just playing around. But I feel like you're dating for purpose. You need to have stuff in order. You know, because if you're bringing this woman on and she's supposed to be your helpmate, you're supposed to build, then you need to have a vision. You need to have a game plan for her. If you already had your phase where I've already had my time that would have my share of women, you know, then I need to be able to make sure I can provide for myself first before I'm out there trying to pursue a woman. You know, when I'm talking about relationship, possibly marriage, I need to have myself first, you know, because
And
a lot of
Amy, you
times,
have a really, really good, you have a good idea of kind of what it's about. I think oftentimes, especially in the climate that we're in right now, people kind of get it misconstrued and nobody wants to be used. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you have to shift your perspective because everybody is being used for something at some point in your life. And that's like the nature of life. That's living. You have to ask yourself whether or not you're being used for the right purposes or if your use in another person's life is purpose driven on your path. That's what you have to kind of ask yourself. And I think Rose, I think oftentimes we don't ask those questions. We don't ask the right questions and we end up jumping right off the train because we're like, oh, okay, this train's going too fast or this person's not putting out what I expected. And oftentimes they don't even know what those expectations are because you never communicated them to start with. You just came in thinking that they were supposed to read your mind, and know what to do. But I do think that if finances is something that you feel is important in your life, you shouldn't be dating somebody that don't have or doesn't have the financial platform that you're seeking. So if you've made it to a certain plateau in your life. So, I mean, I'm a doctor, I have pretty decent income. So if I am, if I'm looking to not take care of a guy and I'm looking to date, that looks like, okay, you need to be able to sustain your own. So I don't have to take care of you. So I don't have to come out of my pocket and pay the majority of your bills, right? So then if I'm dating, that okay, you need to be making enough to support your standard of living. What's your lifestyle consist of? And if I'm then dating, like I mentioned earlier about the financial management aspect of it, you need to know how to manage your finances, whatever they are. What are your financial management skills? Like, how do you get by from day to day? What are some of the things that you splurge or spend money on that you don't need? But you have that cash cushion and you can afford to do that. So if you're going to absorb having a woman in your life and you know that she's high maintenance, because I'm pretty high maintenance, I take pretty good care of me, but that's a whole nother bill.
we're
You know what
going
I
to hear
mean?
all that. We've been trying to hear
So,
all that.
right. So you're going to have a woman and you're going to invite a woman into your life that you can't provide for. And as a man, if you're dating from a traditional platform, you're the provider. So even if she does have her own and is paying all of her bills, you're expected. And she's a woman like me, I'm going to communicate it off the bat. Yeah, I expect you to take care of my hair, my nails, all of that. I go and I get my nails done. That's $115. Are you going to be able to do that? If I get my feet done, that's an additional $65. So are you going to be able to often carry that weight? Because if I'm carrying that weight, we're not in a relationship. So I think it has to do with where that person is in their life and what dating at that stage of life looks like, because it's a maturation thing, because it shifts gears as people's platform shift. And then I don't think there's a problem with building, because at the end of the day, nobody is set in stone as to who they are. So we're all constantly becoming. And that's the most important thing. So if you know that this person if they aspire to be an engineer, if they aspire to be a doctor, you know, and eventually this is what their income is going to look like. You're not there yet, but you will be there eventually. Work, you know, you work with one another until you get to where you want to be. But I think that finance piece is a huge component in relationships now. But really, what you see now.
Amen. you,
I'm looking at some of the comments. She said, I've been with this man for 7 years, and whenever I asked him about marriage, his response was not stable enough. But I'm like, we struggle together, so why not
Oh,
build
man. Come on, 7 years.
together? Okay. So, Latoya, you have a really, really good. Let me tell you, whenever a man makes that excuse and says, "Oh, well, I'm not ready. I'm not stable enough." That's so not true. Because if he were ready, he'd be ready with a $2 ring. And he'd be making you the promises of his aspirations, his goal, and his capacity of life. And he'd be pledging that to you on one knee. Because that's how my first husband and I started off. He didn't have it. He didn't. But at the end of the day, he saw what he wanted. He had a dream. He had a vision. And it was solid. This is what I'm going to offer you. I know where you are. I know where you're. This is what to do with it. Because when a man is not ready, you can't make him ready. You understand? You have to listen to him when he tells you he's not ready for you. Because that's what he's saying. He's saying he's not ready for you. He's ready. He's ready for everything else you've been giving him. But he's just not ready to marry and commit to you. No, seriously, it is like that. Because in the climate we're in, these men, the truth, don't blame them. Like, I have to express to women every single day who say, "Oh, I just really want him to be ready for me, and I'm trying to do what I can to help him get ready for me." You can never do anything to make a man ready for you. That comes from within.
No.
He has got to, and you don't need to cry, sweetheart. It doesn't make you stupid. It makes us human. Learning. Take this as a lesson learned and know better and do better next time. That's what you got to do. And tell him thank you on your way out the damn door. Say thank you so much. That was your purpose. I mentioned earlier, everybody has a purpose. Everybody using someone in some way. Everybody has a purpose in your life that comes across your path. Every single person. It's up to you to figure out what their purpose is. It's up to you to learn the lesson and live this life that was meant to be taken from these experiences that they've taken you through. So take your lessons and move forward. Live your best life. You never know. You might turn around next day, go to Walmart and meet your husband. Don't stagnate yourself.
Yeah, you're right about that. And as far as like a man, like I said, a man knows, or he says he's not ready yet. A lot of times, like I said, he's gonna get ready. Because a lot of times you're saying he's not ready, but what happens? He'll get ready for the next woman. You know, you've been with that man 5, 6, 7 years. Guess what happens? Y'all break up. In the next 3, 4 months, you see him married to the next woman. See that happens all the time.
Exactly, and I see it time and time and time again. I do, and then they're like, "Well, what's wrong with me? It's nothing wrong with you, honey. It's just something wrong with him. He had his blinders on when he was looking at you in the club. He saw a fat ass shaking, and that's all he was thinking about. And he was trying to say whatever he could to get to it. So a man will say what he can, what he need to get to it. And once he got the draws and he's gotten it for long enough, he like, well, you know what? This ain't what I bargained for. This is not what he didn't intend to stay. He overstayed his welcome. He at the damn hotel and ain't nobody came and checked on that room and ain't nobody checked out. So he just got free. He got free room and board. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to write that shit off on our taxes. And we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, I say like if you're with a man who no longer than, I say no longer than 2 years, he should know, especially you have the vision for you. But like I said, don't stay in no relationship. He hasn't even brought it up. You shouldn't have to keep begging a man, oh, when we gonna get married. A lot of times, trust me, a man knows this is his wife, this is his rib. So you having to keep asking him, hey, when are you gonna get married? You gotta drag that man to the courthouse. That's unacceptable. You know, you should know better and have better self-love and self-care to move on from that situation. But
also, and Paige, it's, honey, don't worry. This is one of those things where you find yourself reflecting on the life lessons that you forgot to learn when you had the opportunity. That's what that is. So go ahead and take the lesson now and learn it now and put it into practice. What I have to say though to all these young ladies out here, you guys have got to stop being the man. You got to let a man be a man. You run into these problems when you try and be him. You trying to live his life for him. You can't live his life. You have to let that man find his good thing, because it's he who finds a wife, not she who finds a husband. You have to take it back to the basic core remnants of human conditioning. And that's in all religions, right across the board, straight across the board. Spirituality. It's the man who is supposed to seek out his woman because she is his completion. Don't matter if you're in a polyamorous community, he needs to be seeking out his several women. Whatever it is, you got to let that man be a man. Because when you start trying to live his life for him, you've taken away his autonomy. And at the end of the day, he can't be a man for you. These women out here proposing to me, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm confused. Who raised y'all? Here's the thing. The moment you stop trying to be the man and the woman, you're going to find your husband finding you. That's what you're going to find. Because at the end of the day, a woman is only supposed to sit back, be courted, and make a nice, wise decision as to whether or not that man has truly found his good thing, and give him confirmation and move forward and say, I do. That's your job as a woman. You don't go and propose to them. You don't go ring shopping, because you wonder why the man's ring is just one band. Like, what the hell? You gonna propose with one band and give him another band? If that's the case, he needs to grow some ass and titties, combination, and a vagina, and just marry a woman. That's just what it is. Men are supposed to be men. When you take away his autonomy, when you start living for him, when you start asking him, when are we gonna get married? Oh, you've been getting all my cookies, but you ain't making no commitment. When are we gonna get married? But you said you was looking for a wife. When you start doing all of that, he's looking for a way out. He's like, oh shit. She trying to make me do something I ain't trying to do. Thanks, Queasy. But that's the thing. He gonna be looking for a way out, because you now kind of pushed him into a corner. And even if he was thinking that he wanted to propose to you, even if he was thinking that you were his wife, even if he was thinking that you were his good thing, now you've made him back off that endorsement, because he no longer feels like he is the leader in this relationship. And at the end of the day, and I'm sorry, man, y'all are going to have to just excuse me for telling the damn truth, but you're never the smart one. You're never leading it. We make you think you are, because that's our job. We make you think you got all the ideas, and we give it all. We feed it all to you, and we tell you, hey, baby, here, go say this. We let the public eat it up. And our man looks all beautiful, because that's our job. It's to support you. It's to build you. It's to shape you and mold you behind the scenes. And so you go forth and you represent us as our head of household because you are it, because I am it. That's a woman's job. But you can't push that man into a damn marriage because you done pushed him out the door. And then don't be getting in your tears, bringing out the wine and drinking bottle after bottle because you laid that bed. I mean, you made that bed, now you got to lay in it. That's what they used to tell us all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, what up, Terrence? What's going on, Rose, Kiki, Doris? What's going on, everybody? Everybody for tuning in. But yeah, though, I mean, the problem is that men haven't really been trained how to be men, and men aren't really teaching men to be faithful as far as healthy husband. You know, there's no like husbandry classes where you see a lot of men grooming other men to be husbands. A lot of men are being groomed to be maxim players, womanizers, etc. So it's like all this knowledge is for the woman, but it's like who teaches the men, how to lead, how to protect, how to provide, more than just financially, more than just physically. Nobody. There's not that many teachers out there teaching the men. So basically, what you're going to have is an imbalance of women being taught, but who's really teaching the men to be the type of men that's going out there pursuing for a purpose, not just for an easy conquest.
and Terrence, here is the thing. You say behind every strong black man, but that's every man across the board, no matter what culture it is. There is always a woman who is really guiding this ship. Okay. A man here's the thing. A woman is a man's foresight. That's what a woman is. And you mentioned that men are not being taught to be men because there is an absence. There is an absence of fathers, but men also have to be taught how to be men by modeling behaviors of their mothers. Mothers have a huge role to play in that, because if a woman is a mother to men and her husband has passed on, left this earth, the way she allows men that are in her life, that pass through her life, the men that are a part of her family system, to be and shape her sons, the way she moves tells a man that his job is to do that other thing. Because these are things that you don't have to directly be taught. These are observable skill sets that you can pick up. So, for example, if you're being raised in a single parent home, if a woman is raising these boys and the father decides to step out and be an absent father or whatever the case is that pulls the father out of the home, as a mother, it is your job to say, hey son, clean this bathroom, you clean these toilets, you take the trash out, you go and fix this, fix the doorknobs. The woman could know how to do it. But she has to lead her son to do the things that the man is supposed to do around the house. Even when it comes to bills and money management. Let me show you how this goes. You need to prioritize this and this and this. These are things that should be taught in the home, and these are things that should be practiced by the mothers, by the fathers, by the grandmothers, by the aunts and uncles, cousins, all of them. These children are not being shaped because the people in their system, not just the fathers, are responsible. Like it's the whole family system. Because when these children are being failed, they're being failed by their whole system. The entire thing. They have no support to support their growth and their maturation. I am reading some of the comments. You said positive mentors. Yes, I agree. And even if they're not husbands, Rose, that's the thing. They don't have to be husbands. Men don't have to be husbands to know what it takes to be a husband. They have it inside of them.
Yeah, we do.
They know what it is. Yeah, he just ain't found his wife yet. Just because a man isn't married doesn't mean that he doesn't know what it is to be a good man. Terrence said raising her son to be her king. No, it's raising her son to be someone else's king.
Yeah.
That's what that is. And I don't know why it gets so misconstrued, because whether a father is in the home or outside of the home, children have that's why it takes a village.
Yeah, you still have an obligation as a man to pick up on positive skills and knowing how to lead for yourself. Like I always said, I
Exactly.
mean, you always have to take accountability for your own life, whether you have a mom or dad, uncle, aunt. You have to understand for you what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, you can't really point the finger at nobody but yourself. That's
Exactly.
what a lot of
And
guys.
it's about adaptability.
Yeah.
Human beings are made to adapt, period. Nobody's life is guaranteed. And at the end of the day, that man, even if he's a good man, good father, has no choice in whether or not God takes him today or tomorrow. So his son might grow up without a father, although his intention was something totally different. That does not mean that his child, having been fatherless, has to lack fathering skills. It
Yeah.
means that the system that supports that mother, that supports that dead father, has to step in and now do their job. That's what that means. So it kills me when these, and it's really bad because it's an African American problem. Adapt this whole, well, you know what, because the daddy wasn't in the picture, this child is
Mm-hmm.
this or that.
No, you can't blame
An
that.
attachment injury is an attachment injury. It can be healed if the system molds itself in a way that shapes and supports that child after that father is now absent. So no, that's not an excuse. And no, women raise good men,
Mm-hmm.
and women can raise kings just like men can. It's a collaborative effort. It takes a village, literally.
Yeah. Like I said, it do take both parties. Like I said, you can't make no excuses as a man, as a woman. Like I said, once you reach a certain age, like I said, father's homeless. You should make that motivation. Okay, my dad wasn't there, so I'm using that motivation for my own kids to provide for my wife because I didn't see that. So I want her to have the best. I want my kids to have the best. So always use it as motivation, not as something that's going to cripple you. I feel like a lot of guys adapt or make adjustments to change. Or just want to use excuse me or for me. I mean, everybody's situation is different. You gotta understand that. Your lifestyle is gonna be different. Some people grow up without mom, dad. Some people was foster care. So you have to do what's best, especially when you are 21, 25, 30. You can't keep complaining about what my mom didn't do, what my dad did. You gotta do what's right for yourself and right for your family. Or try to learn people that are successful. Talk to them. Try to mentor from them. You know, there's always all these.
I'm not sure where Terrence gets his most stuff from. This is kind of what I do for a living. I've seen well over 2 million consumers. That's male, female, children, adults, elderly people. I've seen all of them, and nowhere and at no point have I noticed that there is a trend in mothers who raise their children and then the children don't want to leave the house. When children don't want to leave the house, it's because the parent system and the system has supported their laziness. Has nothing to do with teaching them life skills. Now, there are misconceptions, in impoverished communities where, excuse me, these boys go out here and they adapt that whole idea that they have to be in the streets and they gotta sell drugs and they end up with a criminal history, and they feel like they only can, because they're in and out of jail, stay with their parents. Now that's a real thing. That's a real thing. But that's also one of these particular things that as a society we continue to accept and we continue to promote. I'm just saying.
Okay, because there is like a misconception of kicking black children out at an early age. Some people think you should be able to be in the home at a certain age. What's your take on that?
I think I think what has to happen is parents have to prepare their children. So, and we had this conversation. I'm thinking of doing a longitudinal study about it, actually. I was talking to another colleague about this. We talked about this at the last seminar. So the thing is not, and it's not an African American thing. It's a societal thing in America. It's about preparedness. So when I talk about parents and community and systems not training these kids to go in the right directions and mature as they grow, society has continued to push the age of maturation back further and further and further. And when you do that, that's when you cripple the child. So the age of maturation is roughly around 25 now. It was 18, but it's 25. So they keep pushing it back because they feel like these kids that are going out here are not productive citizens by the time they're 18. Latchkey kids from my generation, 8, 9 years old, cooking, cleaning, doing the things that it takes to be a survivor. I was out and had my own place at 14. So that's different than this climate of kids. At 14, they can barely tie their damn shoes. So at the end of the day, it's an accurate assessment when you push the age back of maturation, but it's happening because we're not preparing our kids. And so we back off and we don't give them the life skills that they need, when they're in high school, because we forget the things that worked with us. I think that parents think the opposite is going to work for their kids. Like, oh, I got so many ass whoopings that I don't want to whoop my kids' ass. Okay, so what are you gonna do? You're just gonna raise a kid that's gonna beat your ass. Okay, that works. So you gotta ask yourself, do I want to be all the way far left or far right, or do I want to be somewhere comfortable and have a cushion in the middle? Because that's the way you have to think. And that way you will give the things, the life skills that you were taught to your kids without doing it to the extreme. And the encouragement thing will work. So that's really what it is. It's not that you're kicking them out early. You're kicking them out because you think you're trying to put them in your position, but you're not giving them the skills that you were given.
Yeah.
So it's a preparedness thing. If you don't prepare your child, then you're left with a child forever. Like, because you've now enabled that behavior, and yeah, they don't want to get out. Even when they reach maturation, they having babies in there and everything.
Yeah, that's why, just parents in general, I want to just say mothers when you got to stop calling, young man and young woman, let them go out there in the world and be out the nest for a few.
I think what has to happen is society has to first improve, because it is kind of dangerous out here for these kids, because these children are reckless. They don't have any type of value for human life, and they don't have that value because nobody conditioned them right. It's everybody's fault. It's a complete society's fault as a whole, and nobody's providing accurate oversight for these children. And so I think that that's really the problem, with the climate. But once we change the climate, then we can start conditioning our kids in a better way. We can start giving them life skills that they need to survive. We could start giving them allowances. Allowances allow that child to know how much money they have, gauge how much money they can save, when they can get this particular thing, or if they can't get it at all. You understand? All of those things. It gives them those complex problem solving skills, and at the same time, the life skills that they need to survive early. And they have time to practice it in a safe setting with the conditioning and the support of their parents. You see what I mean? So if you don't do that, you fail the child. Right, Toya. Thanks, Monique.
Yeah, Amy said, let the man be the man. Women are so independent. And when they marry, we continue to do it all around the house, the car, the trash. Later, the woman complains because he doesn't do anything. Well, why should he? Because you never let him do anything in the beginning. Yeah, that's accurate. You know, like I said, you
And
can't you
right,
can't
right,
baby a
Rose.
man, you can't coddle a man. He gonna either gonna come prepared or he's not. Or they trying to baby him, and like I said, that ain't the way to go.
And here's one of the things I use, like with parents when I'm doing like parenting training, and one of the other things that I use like with children in therapy that struggle with opposition or defiant disorder, like those kinds of things, and conduct disorder, when they really start to spiral and parents really can't keep their kids under control. The first thing that we start with is tiered discipline plan. And oftentimes we forget about those basic things that have to be in place. That's the structure that you need to get that child to kind of go in the right direction. Just like with you, you should have expectations and non-negotiables when you're pursuing relationships for your intimate partner relationships in life. And people typically forget about it and they don't do it. Your children need that foundation as well. Your children need to know that these are non-negotiables. These are rules of our household, and they guide and shape our household, the operations of our household, and who and how we are. And so these are things that could be measured from tier 1 to tier 3, 1 being the least, offensive thing that they can do that requires some type of punishment, 3 being the most severe. And you right up under those tiers, you write down what the outcome is. So if it's a tier 1 thing, basically timeout, restriction, or whatever. Tier 2 thing could be, I'm reading a little bit. Okay, so a tier 2 thing could be long term restriction, and then maybe tier 3 could be physical exercise or physical exertion, could be an ass whooping, could be, a number of things. But you don't be specific when you're doing what the outcome is, because you want to be able to gauge how many licks, how long they're on restriction, how long they get their stuff taken from them and that kind of stuff based off of what they do. And that provides kind of like a platform for structure in your household. And also, it helps them learn that there is some level of accountability for things that you do wrong as you become an adult. The same thing happens on the expectations part. You put your baseline expectations of them on a day-to-day basis, and you allow them to kind of earn rewards or stars, and those kind of count for money in an account. That's the way you start them off early, and you condition that as early as possible so that they can learn to earn, and they can learn to save, and they can learn to spend wisely. So
Yeah. Ross said discipline, structure, consistency should be goals. Then the household with children, it's like in relationships. Yeah, I agree with that.
right.
Well, yeah, let's get back to
And
the
I like
topic.
Toya.
What'd you say?
I like Toya's comment. She said we need to get law enforcement out of the home and let parents parent correctly. All children need discipline. But here is the thing. If parents would learn, I think education leads to everything. Okay, knowledge is power. So law enforcement will come to your house and sometimes tell you how to discipline your child, so that you know that when your child calls them out the next time that there is no valid complaint. Because the thing is, they're not trying to tell you not to discipline your child. There is a way to do it. So it's almost like a science to the discipline part. And so, if you know how to do it, I think that you can get it done in an effective way, and not have to worry about law enforcement having to be called, or child protective services and that kind of thing.
Yeah, Toya said consistency is a hard thing for parents to do. Knowledge is power. Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, let's
But
get back to the topic. As far as
okay, well, let's get to the topic is whether or not finances should dictate whether a person starts to date. And it does go
yeah,
back to all of this though, because it's a conditional element. If you don't
yeah, that's
condition a person right from the beginning, then they don't have the tools for them to even go out here and vet relationships or date. So I
what.
think what has to happen, like I said, growth is the potential of relationships. It matters. I think the stage of life, as far as maturation, where that person is in their life, that matters. All of those things. So financial stability should not matter if you were talking about a younger couple. Um, but the outcome, kind of like knowing what your goals are in life, I think that matters at that point, because then we're talking about, okay, so if I am aspiring to be whatever, whatever, I'm going to bring this to the table. This is kind of what I'm trying to bring to the table. This is what you're trying to bring to the table. And so you're working to build. But when you're at a different stage of life, then I think it does matter, because then you're seeking a different caliber of a person, you know what I mean? And a mate. So I don't think it's appropriate for a man who is 50 years old, got a doctorate or 2 or 3, and a career out here to go and try and date a woman that's 20 and say, hey, you need to have all your shit together financially. That's not pragmatic. First of all, you're old enough to be her daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second, or her grandfather. Secondly, I'm just saying. Secondly, you're approaching somebody from a different area of life or different level of maturation in life, and so you can't have those non-pragmatic expectations. So it's either you intended to support her from the jump, or you intended to build with her. And it goes the other way around too. I think it has to be a two-faceted thing. And women need to stop taking care of men. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, you're allowing a man to live under you, eat your kids' fruit snacks. That's unacceptable, you know. And you do see a lot of women, you know, taking care of men and buying them
Terrence,
food.
Terrence said money is the foundation of these new relationships. I
No,
like
Terrence,
that.
no, Terrence.
Interesting. Interesting. So Terrence, let me ask you this. I'm broke. I have no money. I have no job. And this is me. Okay? And yes, I'm beautiful. So you want to go out, we go on a date, and then you look at me and you're like, oh, I left my wallet. And I'm like, well, you better find it because I don't have no money. And you're like, well, why don't you have any money? Because I don't have a job. I don't work. I'm looking for you to take care of me. I'm a woman and you're a man. What's your response, Terrence, to me?
Uh-oh, so put you on blast, so you gotta answer. Jamia said lend yourself to controlling a situation so older men seek much younger women for that very reason. Yeah, that's true, Jamia. They want to control the issue, and you see a lot of women, you know, dating guys in their 40s and 50s and stuff. So that's kind of natural.
It does. It happens. It happens. It happens. But see, here is the thing. You can have. That's the thing. Okay, so let's go to this goals, because Terrence says having no goals, ambition, don't. If we went to the nature of the basic plateau of relationships, like the original relationships where women were aspiring homemakers, okay?
Yeah.
You couldn't say that. And that's still the case many times now. You understand? So at the end of the day, whereas a person Mr. Dyer, you don't want to get married. He said, let's get married. You gonna get married, I'm broke and I ain't got no money. Terrence saying no goals, no ambition. He don't want you in his relationship. So here is my thing. If you have no platform for stability in your relationship. So this woman who has no job, I did state that my goal was to have a man to take care of me, right?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm ambitious as hell because I'm on this date. And I gotta go. My goal is for you to find me, to take care of me.
Okay.
And trust me, it works in a lot of people's relationships even to this day. I know plenty of women who are in relationship with men who give them an allowance and take very good care of them. Very good care of them. And the thing is, not every man out there that's taking care of his woman is a control freak. Some of them are and some of them aren't. But I think you have to kind of gauge yourself based off of what you as an individual want or don't want in your life. And it starts with you knowing what your non-negotiables are. So if I know that finances is a huge thing for me, like I was stating earlier, then I'm not going to be out here looking for somebody with no job.
Amen. Nothing wrong with that.
Right, Rose?
You know when I
You
nothing
said-
wrong with how your standards are your negotiables and non-negotiables. Nothing wrong with that.
So I think the non-negotiables are paramount. So we can, the things that are up for negotiation, it's just whatever comes. I expect this out of you, but we can talk about it. For example, I expect you to make six figures, because I have a seven-figure income. And I need somebody that's close, at least in compatibility. So if I say that, what does that really mean? If you don't make, that's an expectation. That's not a non-negotiable. So if you don't make six figures, let's say you make almost almost six figures. Let's say you make something that's comfortable, but your lifestyle doesn't require you to spend 50% of your income. Okay. Then maybe I'm open for negotiation, right? Because now, okay, yeah, you may not be making all that much money, but you make enough money to where you're able to sustain your lifestyle habits. So I might have to buy most of my stuff myself, but you can take care of the basics. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the negotiation then starts. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you said parents must teach children about finances, and through as an adult, though as adults, you will understand dating is expensive. Uh-huh.
Yeah, each person should be able to
Well,
support themselves for a relationship as they come together, whatever. Each one has, men should provide, but women should be able to hold
financial levels
the
are
family together and
crucial in a relationship.
always know what you're looking
I
for.
don't I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
true.
so, Rose. Because, you know, here's the thing, okay? This comes from a doctor that's dated doctors. And I've dated people that were not doctors. The way my life works, I can't put myself in a shell because I've dated some pretty good guys that were not on my same financial level, social status, doing the same things. And here's the thing, if you have somebody that's just as busy as you are, then that's probably not going to work. Because you're probably not going to see each other at all. And that's one of the main issues, in the celebrity culture. When you have somebody that is on tour all the time, they're both on tour all the time, they don't have time for one another. FaceTime doesn't equate to sexual or physical intimacy. Okay? So, yeah, no, it's not going to work. You need that. You need that.
Yeah.
So, if your partner can't come to you because they're on tour, who's going to satisfy your needs? Somebody else out there. You're gonna be in a
Or
whole polyamorous relationship. You might have like six other people attached or winging it or whatever. But the point is, I don't think your social or financial assets have a lot to do with whether or not your relationship works. As far as it matching, I think that you have to learn how to be able to be supportive of one another, and you have to have a balance. So whatever that balance is, you have to find it. And it's up to you and your partner or potential partner to find what that balance is and then capitalize on it, build on it, and make it, happen. That's right, Rose. That's all we probably have several options out there hanging in the balance.
none of that. Yeah, though, I mean, you gotta just look beyond just financially and social status. Look at the person's heart. Look at his character. Look at his morals. What does it stand for? What is he willing to die for? And what's the belief? Where's he at? you see the potential manifesting, or you just see him blowing smoke off your ass, telling you about your false dreams or what it could be. Because you, at a certain point, you want a man who's manifesting in his potential, not just telling you, but actually see the growth from month to month, year to year, and he's putting action to his work, not just talking talk.
Rose got me laughing. So, I mean,
And
when
then
it when
also
it comes
too,
to social thing,
some people
because
think that
here's
like
the
if you're
thing. But let me say this. So when it comes to kind of like that social thing, when it comes to their social status or financial status versus yours, I think what has to happen is you have to know what you are capable of accepting into your life and into your energy, into your spirit. And they have to know what they are capable of accepting. Because like the Aisha Curry situation. When you sent me the request to talk about that, I don't really check out media. I heard a lot of people commenting on it, and then until somebody finally reached out from the celebrity side of things to me and asked me to comment and you know what I mean? I didn't know a lot about it. And so now in having a full understanding of the picture, I can say that's one of the perfect situations. So he's in the limelight and she isn't. Or is she? From
Yeah, she is. She is.
right? But who
She
from
is. She's
whose
just not.
perspective?
He's just not as high as Steph Curry, her husband.
Well, she's his equal. She is his equal, but she's
Yeah.
seen as his property. And that's the thing. Men respect people, other men like Steph Curry. You understand? And so because of the way that he is housing his relationship, the way that he's projecting his care for his family and his system, the way he supports her, other men respect that. Because for the black community especially, it's a win. You understand? And it goes against the statistic that's painted everywhere. So that's the reason that she really doesn't get the attention that she thinks that she needs. And it's not even attention that she needs. You understand? It's attention that she wants because she wants the same type of external validation that he has. But you don't, that's not a necessity. You have to learn how to reach within and have that internal validation of who you are, how you are. Be proud of what you see in the mirror and what you see manifesting in your life every day. And that piece should carry you. So when I say, okay, social status, although she's not this huge talked about individual, she's talked about the same way when associated with her husband. But people don't come at her in the same way because she's not the one they need to break down. And there is a certain level of respect for her husband. So when she got into that relationship and she knew where he was going on his path, and she knew that she would have to follow because she'd be his equal. You understand? She should have then made that kind of judgment of, okay, what is this going to look like for me? Can I have that in my life? Like, is that going to be okay? And half of the time, you know what's going on when you're in high school. They were together when they were teeny boppers. So she knew what it looked like when another girl was looking at her man. She knew how she was feeling then, but she also knew the confidence that he instilled inside of her by being loyal. You understand? And
Yeah.
so she didn't expect to feel the way she feels as she's now neglected by, other suitors, potential suitors in the community. It's what it
Yeah,
is.
but I mean, like I said, I think Steph he kind of did a good job covering her with that statement. Um, like I said, that's just something that the devil threw at him. But overall, she's allowed to have her feelings. A lot of guys talking about you shouldn't be speaking out on a husband like that, making him look bad. A lot of guys are saying, just be quiet. At least he's working. At least he's, providing you with security for life. They really wasn't getting into like maybe she does have a need or a want. She does need to be comforted. A lot of times, a lot of guys just look at the fact that you make a lot of money, you be happy. Now, if they're cheating on you, not dogging you out, but like I said, and she was suffering with anxiety, so a lot of that might have played a role of her being insecure, etc. But I feel like her husband handled the situation well, and it is something that they just gotta learn and just grow together. You know.
The culture contributes to her anxiety. Seeing these couples that she had looked at for support, encouragement, motivation, and seeing the things, the struggles that their relationships are going through, knowing that when she went into a relationship with him, it was something founded off of a really steady and stable foundation, and seeing that, okay, even these power couples are struggling and they're having these issues, and we can have those issues too. That's what contributes to the anxiety. And so the thing is, I'm gonna jump off here in a minute. The thing, peace, and the warmth that comes with for it's a internal validation that's lacking. You know, she needs that internal validation that says, I'm worth it. I'm still as beautiful as I was yesterday. I'm more beautiful and more powerful as a wife, as a companion to him, as I were yesterday. And that's often something that women struggle with, because even though you can have a really good man, he can't give you what you can give you. You understand? And so, and Mr. Dyer, you're right, because most most women factor in finances for a good reason, because the man should be the man taking them out on a damn date. That's why.
Yeah, but nowadays you
So
got men wanting a woman to go out there with food, or women going out there to pay for dates, etc. So you see a lot of women they
yeah,
okay with it. So I mean,
I can't name the amount of times. And the thing is, like, even if a woman doesn't mind paying, because I'm obviously a woman that don't mind paying, but it's not gonna make me uncomfortable to pay. But shit, I look at all of this, the climate of these men using these women and bragging and shit. You ain't about to use me to, you ain't about to use me today. I'm not paying for anything. So I think it has to do with the culture. That's
yeah,
what makes women kind of less anxious or less willing and more reluctant when it comes to paying for dates and stuff like that, and paying for food and that kind of thing. I don't think that there is, well, no, there are a lot of broke women. I don't want to say that. It's a lot of
not
broke
what I'm
ass
saying.
women out here
There's a
getting
lot
paid.
more women that's stable and financially stable, secure. You know, dating guys who's not. Like I said, everybody's on their own wavelength, they on the same power. But I'm just saying, you just gotta,
Yeah.
you know, find somebody that works for you, whether he has money or not have money, but he should be working towards something. You know, I do feel like it is
Right.
a man's job
You should be
to,
able to build together. That's
yeah.
my point. But I think I think that I still have a owes now. Make up every excuse. Oh my,
What's going on, yo? So how you doing? Hold on, you breaking up a little bit. Oh, wow, she froze. Yeah, yeah, she still froze a little bit.
I'm trying to plug
Yeah, yeah, you're freezing.
Okay. Is that better now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I got like.
Yeah. Yeah, you good.
Okay. But yeah. So once the honor is then
I don't know what's going on. It's lagging.
yourself.
You see, you forget it's freezing. I don't know. I'm about to reset it, y'all. Yeah, I probably reset it. But yeah, though, I probably reset it. Y'all check her out. Her description, her link is in the description. Y'all check me out on YouTube. I'm gonna try to see what's going on. Might